This budding trade war affects businesses in California and beyond. And for more on all of this, we're joined by Professor of Economics at San Francisco State College of Business, Venoo Kakar. Professor, thanks for joining us. Let's start with agriculture here in California. China is the third largest export for California ag, everything from fruits and nuts to wine, about $2 billion worth. How much of an effect do you think this trade war will have on California farmers and wine growers?
Sure. This can have a very bad effect on our agricultural economy. I want to reiterate that some of these things that have not been put into effect are really just tools to have a bilateral trade negotiation. And in the next few weeks, if we see success in these negotiations, these might not be potential threats.
So this is more of a negotiating tactic to try to bring China to the table and get something better or fairer for the United States? Is that what's going on here?
Absolutely. U.S. is absolutely not happy with what China has put on the table currently. And so these are all strategic moves. Tit for tat, yesterday, U.S. announced that it could potentially put import tariffs on 1,300 Chinese products. And this can hurt their economy, and they're retaliating today. But I think we need to wait for about 5 to 6 weeks to see what happens in May.
Well, whose move is next? China just made this retaliatory move. Are we going to wait and see if the United States is going to add some more tariffs? What is the next move in this little game that is going on here?
I think the next step might be that the U.S. might request WTO to have a dispute settlement in this case, and we'll see what happens. But definitely something that I want to echo that was said before, that this really could be bad for businesses if really we go forward with this. China's response is contingent on our response. So China is saying we are going to react only if the U.S. puts import tariffs on 1,300 products. There are fears of inflation, volatility, and uncertainty in the markets that could potentially affect us.
Well, we're talking about the business concerns of Americans and Californians who export to China. Many Central Valley farmers voted for President Trump. Do you think they might have some regrets about that right now?
I think it's too soon to say. I think we want to wait and watch with what happens. This is a strategic move, and negotiations can really not trigger a trade war.
What about Silicon Valley, and how are tech companies affected? Because I know one of the big concerns is China stealing technology or making technology deals, so that if you want to do business in China, you have to give China access to the technology behind those products. How will this tit for tat affect Silicon Valley?
Absolutely. This is really a legitimate concern, because our response, the U.S. government's response yesterday to China's policies is because China is coercing American companies to transferring technology and intellectual properties to domestic Chinese enterprises. This could threaten our companies that innovate, and they potentially fear that the rising costs of goods at prices that consumers and businesses would pay eventually could hurt their businesses.
All right, Professor Venoo Kakar, thanks. We got to cut it short.